In Ghana, individuals facing unplanned pregnancies often encounter limited access to accurate information, stigma, and lack of supportive services. In this episode, we would explore the full range of pregnancy options, including parenting and safe pregnancy options, while highlighting the importance of non-judgmental support systems available. Hi, my name is Benny, and thank you again for joining us for another episode of the Empowered Choices podcast series, where we bring you all the accurate sexual and reproductive health information that you need. I would proceed to introduce my beautiful ladies in the studio with me, starting from my far right.
Thank you.
Hi.
So my name is Yaira Sandra. I am a youth action member for the PPAG, and Parents Association of Ghana, and I'm glad to be here today.
Sandra, you're welcome.
Thank you.
And my name is Ophelia Boma Azore. I'm a clinical psychologist, and I've been a past
PPAG baby.
PPH baby. Yes, 10 years ago. But I'm still in the helping profession, doing counseling and offering all forms of mental health advices to people. I'm happy to be here, and I'm very impressed with what you have going there.
Thank you.
Yes.
Welcome again. So today we are going to be talking more about pregnancy options, okay? What support looks like for someone who has unintended pregnancy. So we'll delve more into the support systems that are available in our communities as individuals, even in families, and then nationwide. Yes, what it looks like. Because telling the truth, most people don't know the supports available.
Yeah.
Sure.
They just know that if I'm going through this, there's no one there to help me.
Exactly.
And I think that is not the image we want to project out there.
Yeah.
So we want young people listening through our digital channels to understand that there's actually support for you when it comes to certain things, when it comes to your menstruation, when it comes to STI management, when it comes to HIV management. It's not the end of the world.
Yeah.
The support, whether clinical, also medical, but
Yeah.
also emotional, physical, whatever you need.
Spiritual, all available.
So if there's opportunity for us to connect them to the right resources, that's what we are here to do.
Yeah.
Okay. So I'll start with you, Hera. What does emotional and practical support looks like for everyone exploring their pregnancy options?
Okay. So I'd say that for emotional and practical support, we as individuals, no matter whether we are health workers, whether we are family or friends, we would have to support young people who find themselves in this dilemma. We'd have to offer them non-judgmental support. We'd have to offer them unbiased support. If a young person walks into a health facility, I shouldn't look at the young person in a certain way because they are young, because they are 17, because they are 18.
Or they made a mistake.
Exactly. I should give them the support needed, okay, in terms of maybe counseling them, if we are able to even make some services free, we should be able to do that. So yeah.
Okay. Ophelia, you want to
Yes, sure. So from a clinical psychologist perspective, when we talk about emotional support, we talk about the mental state of the person. An example is fear. Okay, when there's an unplanned pregnancy, there could be sadness or depression and anxiety. And so the emotional support comes whether as parents or as caregivers, you develop empathy for the person. And a practical example of that is having a discussion with them, like an accurate information about whether the person wants to keep the baby as in parenthood or adoption, or even the option of terminating it if they want to, and that we should also develop the unlearn the unbiases that we all have based on our cultural or our religious status or even personal beliefs and norms. Like, so you offer the person that emotional support. And I understand, because a lot of Ghanaians do not even understand what is emotional support.
Yeah.
We normally always want to advise.
Advice.
Right.
The first thing someone
Yeah.
comes to you is not even to listen to what the person is going through,
Yeah.
but what can I do in this situation? What's the best advice I can give
Exactly,
you?
yeah.
And this thing, in fact, they start shouting.
Yeah.
Yes.
I mean, it's
Yeah.
it shouldn't be the
It's
case, but
true.
that is what is happening. So coming back to you from a perspective of a counselor or a clinical counselor. So, if someone, what does it mean for people to receive empathy and then non-judgmental support?
Okay, so for empathy, there are various forms of empathy, right? For a typical Ghanaian, I know we love to chat or engage in communication a lot, right? But the manner of the conversation, as in an assertive conversation, a conversation where I can listen to you, and you share your opinions and ideas, and I won't feel bad about it, right? So it's more like she said, an open space or a safe space where the person can speak about their opinions and what they are feeling. And I would like to mention that with empathy, you go deeper into the root cause without judgment, right? The person can share even deliberately or the intention behind the act without you feeling any form of judgment towards the person. So a lot of times with our work, what makes our work different from other forms of friendship therapy is the fact that we seek to understand the person rather than label the person or depersonalize the person. Sometimes when we look at some people and we label them, it means that we have already formed a certain judgment about them. And that is what health workers or even parents need to learn. That when we label these people, we don't offer them a safe space because they can sense the energy that they are not being received.
That's true.
And so empathy should be practiced from the family, from health, and then even in school settings.
Dara, more often you are a peer educator as well, right?
Yeah.
So you talk to young people and tell them that these services we provide youth friendly. What does it mean?
So to tell another young person that the services we provide is youth friendly, it means that they feel comfortable talking to us. They talk to us and they know that we are not going to judge them. They know that we are not going to look them in a certain way. They know that we are going to walk alongside them every step of their way, and we are not going to be leading them that do this, do that, do this. But we are going to ask them. Because young people, I'm a young person. Once you tell me that, do this, do that, I feel like, why are you trying to control me? Like, let me be the one to make the decisions. So I make the decision, and then you let me know the consequences that comes with it. And I'm like, okay, so I want to do this, or okay, then I think I'll change my mind and do this. So for me, it's like walking alongside you and not leading you by the horn, like do this, do that, this is best for you. I'll give you the options you need, and if you think they are good for you, that's fine.
I like that. I like the perspective you both shared. So I want to ask, what role do you think family and friends specifically play when it comes to providing support without being coercive? Because you can have a typical friend situation where it's like, hey, this is what worked for me, so you have to go and take the same approach when you find yourself in a situation where you don't know what to do because you don't even know about your options when it comes to your pregnancy. You know, what roles do family and friends specifically play in that? So,
Okay, so family is the primary support for every individual, right? Our family is our, the nurtured side of us. When you look at me, my beliefs, my identity and everything about me is based on the family that I was brought up from. And so a lot of times what family members can do is to, again, offer that unbiased support. I know some family have certain names that they are protecting, right? And
I thought about it. Also, like it's always the image. The image is more important than the situation. It shouldn't be so.
Yes. And so when you also think deeper into authoritative parenting, like not being conformed to the recent or recent civilization, it makes it very difficult. Like there's always a gap between the children's understanding and their parents' communication. An example is perfectionism, right?
Yeah.
How parents expect their kids to be perfect.
It doesn't exist.
Exactly. And so when we talk about support, there are various forms of support. Informational support, like accurate accessibility to the information, and then giving the child the options, right? Secondly is financial support. If you find your child in this situation, are you going to rob your child of shelter, nutrition, or food, or clothing, or so all of these things, I mean, when we do that, it means we are rejecting them, we are isolating them, and then they become an outcast, and that can that can affect the child's self-esteem. I'm into school counseling as well, and sometimes children who are noticed to have low self-esteem are normally children from home where there's dysfunction, right? Either there's parental problems, negligence, or even, like I said, perfectionism, expecting their children to perform exceedingly, right? And so when a child is being welcomed, the child will develop a good self-esteem about themselves. They don't have to feel bad that, oh, I got pregnant at a certain age, and because of that, I'm a nobody. Because at the end of the day, when that happens, the child grows up, and then the child devalues herself. She no longer has an identity.
Yeah.
And she does even worse, because any guy who comes around would see the weaknesses in them. Sometimes you don't have to pretend. People can see it when you have confidence and when you don't. It is written all over you. And certain men can prey on that and even destroy your child's life.
So bringing it back to the health system, do you think that there are challenges that young people are facing? Bringing it back, there are challenges that young people are facing when it comes to accessing this information that are related to their pregnancy options?
Yeah. So like I said earlier, when they walk into a health facility, the attitude of the health workers, okay, is one of the things that would either encourage them or discourage them, okay. And sometimes, so I was thinking earlier, and I realized that sometimes the health professional they are going to meet, probably the doctor they are going to meet, might be friendly, but how they get to the doctor, probably they were passing by a nurse's station, they heard the nurses talking about they heard the nurses talking about another young person who is pregnant, and like not a very nice conversation, and they get there and they're like, hey, we are talking about this person like this, what's about
me when I leave here?
Exactly. So one thing that health workers should take very seriously is to be empathetic, to be able to give non-judgmental services to people, no matter the age, no matter the race, no matter how old or young the person is. So that's what I'd say about the health system. If they can take courses on giving out non-judgmental, services, that's okay. Unbiased
I think
services.
it's being taught, but the practice is what they are facing challenges. Because in most health institutions, giving non-judgmental, it's like your ethics, code of ethics that you work with.
Exactly.
So it's part of it.
It's
It's just the practice of it. It's most often they kind of combine what they have been going through personally with what is going to. And then as much as we want to bridge the gap between, let's discuss among our colleagues to see what best we can help the client, it's also breaking the confidentiality, because maybe I came to meet me and I didn't meet the other nurse. You're not supposed to share.
Exactly.
Get it? So that is one of the challenges they are going through.
And you know, it's not even at the workplace. A lot of these health workers carry cases back home to discuss. Hey, who passed away? Sorry, did you see this? Hey, Asembi, who passed away in a hospital. Right? So they carry these cases back home and discuss with their spouses, even sometimes their children are there, and maybe the child that is pregnant attends the same school with these children, and they carry out. It's the same way for the pastoral counseling.
I feel like at some point you can discuss the situation. Don't give the name. Keep the name confidential, the age, the location.
Yeah.
I mean, if you want to get another perspective about the situation, it's not just that young lady that's happening to.
Yeah.
There are other young ladies in different communities it's happening to.
Exactly.
You can discuss, but do not reveal the person's
details,
identity.
yeah.
Yes.
And you see, it's the discussion aspect is there, but it is fused with stigma.
Yeah.
This is like the tone that the person carries about in sharing the
Exactly.
information is stigmatic.
That's
you see?
true. Yeah.
Yeah.
But if the person is sharing it with a genuine concern, right? Maybe looking for solutions in counseling or even confronting another health specialist. We all do it in the health sector.
Yeah.
If I receive a case and I think I need a second opinion, then I call my seniors. This is the case. How can you help? It's different from me calling a friend and saying, "Hey, do you know who came to the hospital today? You won't believe it."
Yeah.
So I like the fact that you raised stigma. So let me ask to both of you, how does stigma around pregnancy options impact the kind of support services people, because like you said, there are 3 options available to you. You keep the pregnancy, you give up for adoption, or you have the option to terminate once you've gone through counseling and you're able to make an informed decision. So if there's still stigma around, which it still exists, how does it impact the kind of services that people receive? Like in the long term, like I said, it starts even from the security.
Yeah.
Like, hey, this young girl came here 2 weeks ago. Sit there. The support staffs around before the nurses. Then, in fact, even the doctor can also stigmatize
Yes,
you.
yes.
So, in the long run, when it comes to the making those 3 or picking from those 3 decisions when you have the pregnancy, how does it impact them?
So I think that putting all these things together, okay, the young person can decide to, okay, well, I'm pregnant, what do I do? Even if I go to the hospital, this is what we'll do. If I tell my friends, my friend can go and tell another friend. And then that point, that the time they take to think about these things makes them delay in accessing these services. And even when they have gone to see a counselor, the counselor says, okay, so these are the options available to you. You can either decide to give the child up for adoption, you can discontinue the pregnancy, and they're like, hey, okay, if I want to discontinue this pregnancy, somebody has already heard it, I'm pregnant. So if I don't have the baby, they will not be like, you've gone to terminate or discontinue the pregnancy.
Yeah.
And then you're tagged as a very bad child. And that's very bad.
Well, you didn't even provide support, but when they finally
let me do what's best for me too. That one too, you want to come and stigmatize me and all that. So I think that putting all these things together, it makes the young person not able to make a decision early enough, and then it would in the long run affect them negatively, because if the pregnancy is going to affect your health, you are keeping it. It's been 2 months, it's been 3 months, and then it gets to a point where you can't terminate the pregnancy, and it's also posing a health risk to you. So we should be able to see these things and then work on them.
You want to add?
Okay, yes. So, firstly, rejection, right? When there's stigma attached to anything, people reject. People don't want to associate with it.
Withdraw
Back. And a lot of times, when there's that rejection, then they go into withdrawal and there's depression. So the person is carrying the unplanned pregnancy and is already going through mental health disorders or challenges. Not only that, but the person is robbed of their identity, right? Because they look at themselves right now and they can't imagine what they are looking at in the mirror. Like everything has been messed up for them. Okay, so what we can do with the stigma is to understand that anything can happen to anyone, right? Even as adults, even at my age, you've heard that people, young women are afraid of pregnancy. Yes, just like teenagers, right? Especially, it comes with a certain responsibility that any sane person would know that I may not be ready for this if I don't have a partner by me, because it has to do with finances, it has to do with the family accepting the pregnancy.
The emotional support that the man will
provide for you. Yes, so these are some of the challenges with stigma.
Okay. So we like I said, these are all spaces we have CSOs in Canada also advocating for safe spaces for young people.
Yes.
We have institutions, we have schools. In fact, even national policies are advocating for safe spaces for young people. So how can we, beyond what we are already doing, beyond what is in existence, how can we create safe spaces where people feel comfortable talking about their options and then asking for help? Because truthfully, it's difficult for people to ask for help if they've been judged before. We've talked about stigma and judgment. If I've been judged before, I won't come. You do it and won't come. You see, so what can we do to scale up the safe spaces that we are creating for people? Because I know that we are still educating healthcare people and then enlightening them about creating safe. But is there something more that we can do? Because it still persists. The stigma associated, the rejection that comes with it still persists. You can go to a place and then meet your auntie or this and this, and then it becomes a whole situation where you don't know whether to continue with the conversation or turn around and be like, I thought this was what is all the while chill. You see, so what can we do to elevate or scale up our safe spaces?
Yeah, so I would like to mention that instead of concentrating on the external environment, I would like it to be an individual business. You should teach yourself how to open up to people. There are some people who, because of family dynamics, they don't know how to open up. They don't know how to ask for help, right? And so you need to help yourself with what? Self-awareness and communication skills.
That's good.
Sometimes it could just be a basic sentence and people find it so difficult
You know how
to
sentences can
express.
play in your head over and over again.
Yes.
Especially when you know that maybe there's a little bit of truth, it plays all over and over again in your head.
So you should know that I need help and I should seek for the help. When the individual prioritizes themselves, then they are able to seek for the best help they need and then go for it. For the external environment, look at PPAG. You've provided this is capital invested, like you get. And
so source of information for young people.
For young people. CSOs, even school counseling. Now there's school counseling. But the individuals themselves, can they come up and say, I need help? Why is it so? Delving back to family dynamics, parents should teach their children how to express themselves so that when they find themselves in trouble, they can first of all come to you, the parents, not even go out there or thinking that my own home is not a safe space.
That's true. Sarah?
Yeah, so sorry. She has spoken about the individual, and aside the individual who is in that situation, individuals like we as people who are not in that situation, we should be able to, like, this is basic. My friend is in a certain dilemma, is in a certain situation. I should be able to offer unbiased support. So empathy, if it was me, what would I want somebody to do for me? It's the same thing we should be doing for somebody. If you don't know what to do, just ask. Oh, Adjoa, how can I help you in this situation? What would you like me to do? If I can't do it, I can show you somebody that can do it. Okay. So, like the Ziankasa, if I think I'm not professional enough to offer counseling or anything, I can give you their contact number, and then you call them, speak to them, and whatever the decision is you make, let me support you as I would like you to support me. So
Okay. Before we go on, if you are listening and you're in a situation where you need help, especially when it comes to your sexual and reproductive health, I want you to know that there's support available. That is why PPAG, we have Yenkasa. So feel free to call our toll-free number on 0800 20 20 10, and on WhatsApp, you can WhatsApp or you can text us on 0245 118 228. Okay. So, Ophelia, you did mention about parents giving spaces or teaching their children how to communicate, right? It's one thing to tell them that, parent-child communication, you make sure your parent, but you know the age we are in, you know the country we are in, you know that there are cultural values, you know that company. The way our parents were raised is how they are raising their children. You see, some parents, most parents, majority of Ghanaian mothers or fathers are unable to speak to their kids. So if they are not getting the support from their home, what kind of support is there, especially in school, in church, in their office, in their workplaces? What kind of support is there?
Okay, so normally I teach the kids or adolescents to every time have 5 trusted adults. So each finger should represent 5 trusted people that they can talk to if they need. And if these fingers run out, then they can speak to a close friend. And these 5 trusted adults includes family, teachers, church, what they call it, supportive, like just like the online supportive numbers that you can call. And then third, a trusted friend. Lastly, a trusted friend. So it means that no matter what, sometimes you can save them as emergency numbers. So that if anything happens, you can call. And then, but I would advise that no child should make any decision without the help of a trusted adult.
That means that they have to navigate to their life to a point whereby they find these 5 people that represent their 5 fingers that always be at their fingertip. That makes it.
That's good.
Okay. So to wrap up, final statement, I would like you to look into your camera. And starting from Yara, what message would you share with someone who is watching today and is feeling overwhelmed and unsure of what to do after finding out that they are pregnant? What would you like to share?
Okay. So somebody who is pregnant and not knowing what to do, take all the time you can to think about the options available to you. You can decide to give the child up for adoption. You can decide to discontinue the pregnancy. That is a choice you would make. And do not feel bad about that choice. Like, it is yours to make. You know what is best for you. And to the family, the friends, the church, the schools, let us support these people unbiased and non-judgmental. Like, do not see this person and be like, this person is the worst person on earth. Why did you go and do this? Why did you go and do that? Let them own their decisions and let us support them in every way we can. Thank you.
Thank you, Yara. Ophelia?
Okay, so thank you so much. If you have listened to us up to this point, it means that you are invested in our conversation. What I would like to share with you is that, first of all, you should prioritize your mental health, okay? Because one thing about mental health is it is who you are, the way you think, the way you feel, the way you behave. So when you wake up in the morning and you have a certain thought, it may be that thought that may ignite you on what to do next. All right. So when you have a negative thought pattern, it means for the rest of your day you're going to have a bad day. All right. But if you have a positive thought, it means that for the rest of the day you're going to be productive. You're going to have gratitude. So number 1, your mental health. Number 2, I would like to speak more on your, like I said, supportive partners or your coping skills group, whatever or whoever they are. I want you to understand that you also have your own opinion. They have a shared opinion of who you are, but you have your own opinion as well. And so you should know that yours stand. Number 3, I would like to talk on friendships. If you have friendship groups that are negative, you should desist from such friendship groups. If they are positive, make sure that you become productive of yourself and then learn from their mistakes and support one another. So this is what I have to say. And always seek out for the help of a professional, because I know the benefits of seeking professional help.
Thank you, wonderful ladies. It's been an insightful conversation. Thank you, Yara. Thank you, Ophelia.
Thank you, Penny.
I always say to my guests, I hope we continue this conversation outside of the studio. And then later in the future, bring it back again and to delve much into deeper topics, you know. Someone somewhere may need this information. And I'm so glad that we're making this opportunity available to them for them to get this insight. And to our wonderful listeners, thank you again for joining us for another edition of the Empowered Choices podcast, right from the Yenkasa podcast studio. And if you are listening and you need help, call Yenkasa on 0800 20 20 10 and on WhatsApp 0245 118 228. Bye.
Bye.